Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Console Corner. My name is Blue, and I'm your host. Week 4 recap, special little LAN scenario breakdown for everybody. I know a lot of people have been asking me questions. Do we still have a chance? And if I tell them yes or no, if I tell them yes, they ask me how. And there's just a lot of ways that some of the teams still have a chance. And we'll get into that. And we'll get into who's qualified as well. First, I want to talk about Kirsty's Hands versus Onslaught. We all know they were supposed to play each other in Week 3. Them and the Oni Channers and Elevate set was the two biggest sets everybody was looking forward to. All those teams were 2-0 at that point. Kirsty's Hands was the only one of those 4 teams that had dropped one map. They went to a 3-game set with Happy Battle Cats, but they were able to beat them. So that was a big matchup. Could Kirsty's Hands deliver the first loss to Onslaught? Could Oni Channers upset Elevate? Now, Elevate did get upset by Oni Channers. That was a 2-1 in favor of the Oni Channers. And Kirsty's Hands and Onslaught did not play in Week 3 because the hurricane, for some of them, they were affected. God bless that they're okay. So they rescheduled their match to be played on the same day as their Week 4 matchups. And they would play that one earlier in the day. Now, they did play it. The results did come in, and they weren't exactly what we expected. A lot of us said that Onslaught was going to win. They did end up winning, but they won 2-0. Kirsty's Hands didn't force a Game 3. And I've got some key points on why I think why I think that they lost that match. But they also didn't stream that game either, or that set. They didn't stream that as well. So that was fairly interesting as well. So the first thing that I noticed is that Miracle was playing Ying. There was a lot of Ying picks across the league in Week 4. And she was only picked one time through the first 3 weeks. Ying was 0-1 through that amount of time. And then in Week 4, she saw a resurgence. She got picked, I think, 4 times total. So she is now 2-3. Just to make everyone aware, Ying is 2-3. 5 picks. So it went from 1 to 5 in 1 week. So Miracle was on the Ying in Game 1 against the Kirsty's Hands. Unfortunately, Miracle was disconnected from the game pretty early on in the game. So they played with a Ying bot for about half of the game. They still won the game. But you could kind of tell that Ying was a bot for half the time. She had a .30 KD. So I don't really think Miracle would have done that bad if he were there the whole time. They still ended up winning, though. Some of the key factors, I think, in this set, Onslaught beats Kirsty's Hands 2-0. There was no ruckus for Dovahkiin throughout the entire set. I thought that was interesting. I think part of their big success that we've seen in the mixer streams especially is when Dovahkiin's on the ruckus. They went 3 games against Happy Battle Cats. Both times they pulled that ruckus out, they were able to win. Ruckus is 8-0 in the PCL to begin with, so in large part to Dovahkiin. He's been played on PS4 EU twice, and he's been played somewhere else once or twice, if I can remember. So that was a big factor for me. The next thing is that they gave up too much in the draft. They gave up way too much to let Onslaught just be Onslaught in the draft. They allowed them to run the double support, and right now that meta is huge. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's real cheesy, but they ran it in Week 1. They ran it in Week 2. They ran it in Week 3 when they're able to, when someone doesn't stop them from doing so. And we all know what they're going to do when they run the double support. They're going to grab a very high priority support along with a Saris, allow Wonderful to play that Saris, and that's exactly what they got to do against Kirsty's Hands. Wonderful was on the Saris both games. They had the double support comp ready. I think they had a Ying the first game, a Furia the second game. So Kirsty's Hands really didn't do anything in the draft to prevent Onslaught from getting what they wanted. Another reason that I say Onslaught got what they wanted, not just their double support and Wonderful on Saris, their damages played some of their most comfortable picks they are used to playing. I mean, we saw Skeppy on the Drogos. We saw Skeppy on the Willow. We saw they had double blaster, triple blaster with Saris. They had the double blaster DPS when in Game 1. They had the Drogos and the Willow, and you give up Willow 2 games. You don't take the Willow both the games. You give it to Cool Matt in game 1. You got Skeppy on the Drogos. Then in game 2, you give Cool Matt his Strix, and you allow the Willow to go to Skeppy. So these are comfort picks for them. You're allowing them, the DPS players, who are some of the best in the world on the joysticks, to play with characters that they're the most comfortable with. And I just think that you lost the draft. Theoretically. I'm not saying you lost the draft in champions, because you could have had a very beautiful champion draft yourself. But I'm saying you lost the draft when it comes to players and their champions that they can play comfortably and as well as they do. So that was a big thing for me. The next thing on the list is the Week 4 recap. There was some predictable matches. So a lot of us knew Elevate over Warm-Up 2-0. That was very fast, unfortunately, just like it was in Week 1. And the same with Oni Channers over Game Over. Game Over beat Warm-Up, so obviously Game Over and Warm-Up. And I would include Baldy Bunch in this list as well as some of the bottom teams right now in the league. No offense to any of those players. They're just not performing as well. I think with Baldy Bunch, it's the meta. I think with Game Over and Warm-Up, I think it's the rosters. They've had a lot of roster problems between those two teams. I know Game Over, I think, has had 8 people through their roster already through 4 weeks. I know Warm Up for sure has had 9 people come through in their roster swaps. So with something like that, you're not able to build chemistry. You got to roll swap a lot. Now, Baldy Bunch has been roll swapping and bringing in some subs as well, but I think their biggest problem is that the meta doesn't fit with them right now. They're not used to running that double support. They were really strong after the double support was kind of eliminated from the meta. That triple DPS, they were really strong. So factors like that. Brutal Fissure against YCTG. Brutal Fissure beats them 2-1. They beat them in Week 2 as well, but they beat them 2-0. And YCTG in the last 2 weeks, they were getting 2-0'd by everybody, but they have pulled 3-game sets out of nowhere against these strong teams. They forced Cyclone to 3 games. They forced Brutal Fissure to 3 games. Next week, I believe they're playing Flashpoint, and we'll be able to see if they can pull 3 games out of that one. If they can force Flashpoint to a 3rd game. Now, Flashpoint's already qualified for HRX, so if they are to go to a Game 3 against YCTG, no one is going to look at it as a YCTG improvement. They're just going to look at it as Flashpoint's trolling. They're not trying hard. They're already going to HRX, all of that baloney. But I feel that Flashpoint will use this time outside of their scrims in the league to help build themselves and work on a couple things. They can run some comps that they usually wouldn't run and see how well that goes. So YCTG, unfortunately, has not been scrimming, I've heard. Rumors are in that they have not scrimmed in 3 weeks. And I guess that's working for them because they're winning games, not sets. They're winning games when they're not scrimming. Before they were scrimming, they were getting 2-0'd by everybody. It was a mess. Flashpoint beat Cyclone 2-0 again. Both games, I believe, went 4-3. I forgot to write that down when I watched the VODs. But Cyclone, again, has not made it over the hump. So Cyclone's been on the hill for the longest time, and they've been the closest to the top of the hill, but they still cannot make it over that hump to beat Flashpoint. So with Flashpoint beating them 2-0, they qualified for HRX. They're the first team in any of the divisions to qualify, and we'll go over that a little bit more. Vex beat Radiant 2-1, and this was just disgusting because Vex was underplaying the entire time. They stepped up in Game 3 and kind of showed a little bit of dominance in their play. But in Game 1, Radiant was the victor, and they showed very strong poise against such a veteran lineup in Vex. In Game 2, they had the lead again, and they failed to commit all the way to the end. There was a couple problems in the DPS's positioning at certain parts. At certain points in the game, and there was also some lackluster defending from the tanks and with the support. It was just, there was a couple mistakes that they made, and those mistakes cost them big. It's okay to make mistakes here and there, but when one mistake causes a big domino effect or it creates a big play for the opponent, that is when it becomes a problem. I think Radiant is a very strong team. At the beginning of the season, when Zimmerframe kind of surprised me and a few of everyone else coming into the league so strong, beating OTP 2-0, and OTP at the time was a strong team. I think it was a big statement saying who's going to be the number 2 team, because we all think Vex is the number 1 team. And then, Radiant kind of stepped up and said, hey, we lost 0-2 to Vex in the first week, but we need to step up. We need to show them we're number 2. And they did so in beating OTP. They beat Zimmerframe 2-0. Then they come back against Vex. They take the first map off of them, show a strong presence, and then kind of just, it's like they were in a race car and, they're 5 laps ahead of the person that's the defending champion. And they just sit back in their car and try to relax. And eventually, the defending champion passed them up again. So we'll see if Radiant can continue their success. They do have a shot at the LAN. We'll get into that as well. And they have a very slim chance. So does Zimmerframe, who, by the way, has signed to an org. So Zimmerframe is no longer their name. They're now going under the org Team Viral. So I'm not going to call them Team Viral every single time. I'm going to call them Viral. They went up against OTP, and they beat them 2-0, but OTP has shown promise. They've gotten 2 new players in their lineup. They've got Westside and Jay Tyloo, and these 2 guys they were on teams that didn't qualify into the PCL, so after that roster lock debacle, they were able to come and join OTP, and ever since they've joined, I think that they had a chemistry problem at first. Bringing new players on, always you fall into that. But they've started to blend together. They took a map off of Radiant. They took a map off of Vex. So I think with more practice, more time under their belts together with this lineup, I think that they can develop something. Maybe not in the next 2 weeks, but, in the next season of the PCL. So hopefully they can do that. Kirsty's Hands versus Baldy Bunch. Kirsty's Hands beats Baldy Bunch 2-0, of course. I saw that coming. Baldy Bunch is not a strong team right now. Again, I think the meta is hurting them. And then Happy Battlecats versus Onslaught. And the one thing I want to say about this, Happy Battlecats beat Onslaught 2-1. And we'll get into, as you can see, the next topic right there is Miracle and Tay. So we'll talk about that debacle. But I want to talk about the good play from Happy Battlecats. They picked up Soldier Bot. They picked up Regan. They leave Milka Cat as the support in the lineup. Apathy Ace is still their front line. Then they bring Burt's Bees Knees back into the lineup. They take He's Kinessa or Genos. I'm not saying the last 3. That's bad. He had to change his name for a reason. He's the number 1 GM on Xbox. Okay? Now, a lot of people will say rank doesn't mean anything in the PCL. And I will agree with that. But you would think that someone in ranked would have a good competitive mindset. The problem is he does too much. I think that his problem right now is that he's in the ranked mindset, and we all know that PCL drafts, PCL play, and team competitive play is way different than ranked, and it's in its own dimension, not even world. It's in its own dimension. So I think he's hard stuck in that ranked mindset, and he needs to release from that. And that's okay. He plays the game, and he loves the game. But if he's going to continue to have a successful career in the competitive scene, I think he's going to have to separate the two, the competitive mindset and the ranked mindset. So he was, pushed into the sub position because of that. I think that is the biggest factor with him right now. A couple of other guys on the team have been pushed to the sub position as well. But I really think picking up Soldier Bot, who has become one of the most improved players. He left the game for a while after he got cut from Fable. He went to another team and tried some things with them. He played with Baldy Bunch in week 2. They wouldn't supposedly they wouldn't let him DPS, so he moved to Happy Battlecats. That was kind of a surprise to us all. And Regan, who is a very, very talented DPS that's highly underrated in the league. He came from Press Y, so his team didn't make it, so he was put on to the Happy Battlecats. And I really think this lineup is really good. I think they have potential. Maybe not in this, if it doesn't work out for them in this season, I think maybe next season, if they come back, they'll be stronger, just like OTP. But they're stronger than OTP right now, I would say. And the main reason is because a lot of people thought they shouldn't be in the league. A lot of people memed them. A lot of people just called them a bunch of ranked bunch of ranked gods who didn't really know how to play the game. They weren't good at the game mechanically, or they had no real competitive skills. But I think that they have just hushed everybody, or at least kind of quieted them down. Now, Onslaught, we talked about Miracle lagging out or disconnecting when he was playing the Ying against Kirsty's Hands earlier in that day. Apparently, he was having more problems with his network connection. He lagged out or disconnected during the draft against Happy Battle Cats, or maybe it was Kirsty's Hands. So that's unfortunate. It happens to the best of us. I love it when, teams like Onslaught or some other top teams, they lose a game or they lose a set and they immediately tell me so-and-so was lagging. I said, listen, this is part of the game at this point, okay? Cyclone had a problem with someone lagging against Flashpoint in week 1 when they had the 4-3 on Stone Keep. Someone else had a problem with someone disconnecting on Baldy Bunch. It was Styles. So, I mean, this happens. Hopefully, Hi-Rez or Evil Mojo is working on fixing this, because I want it fixed too. It aggravates me. But at this point, you got to have a 10% expectancy, at least. So, yeah. So, Onslaught decided that Miracle could not play, and to be quite frank, even if they have a sub, I don't think they could have given I don't think the sub or even anybody on the team would have prepared for this to happen. It's never happened to Miracle before, so no one was prepared. So their sub probably, maybe he's like, hey, do you guys need me tomorrow? And they're like, no, we don't need you, man. Everyone's gonna be there. So he's like, all right, cool. I'm going to the rec center. This guy's at the rec center. You think he's about to drive home? No. So because of that, they had to, or maybe they don't have a sub at all. I don't know. So they had to bring in Tay. Tay did fairly well, despite all the memes and everything and all the bad mouthing about her. She was the person available. They trust her. She plays supports, I think, right? So that's a plus. But she did very well, despite the circumstances. She probably doesn't scrim with the team. She doesn't go over maps. She doesn't go over strategies. She doesn't watch VODs with them, probably. And, she doesn't play with them in that competitive mindset on a regular basis, to the best of my knowledge. Maybe they do behind the scenes. I don't know. But I think she did very well despite the circumstances. So that is what happened with Miracle. That is why Tay played and all of that. So there we go. Moving on to the next thing. Flashpoint. Okay, so Flashpoint is 4-0 in the PCL. But the reason why they have qualified, because people are like, oh, Vex is 4-0, but they didn't qualify? That is correct. Vex lost one map to OTP, and they lost one map to Radiant this week, which makes them, ding, 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 8-2, okay? Flashpoint is 8-0. There's no possible way that they will lose more maps than any other team in their division at this point. There's only 2 weeks left. It's the best 2 out of 3. Even if they go 0-2-0-2, they're only 8-4. The other 3 teams would have more losses because 2 of those teams are going to lose. So, Flashpoint is going to HRX. This has been confirmed. So here it is. They're the first team to qualify for HRX. I expected this, despite their division, I think, being the closest in competitiveness. Let's see. So this is the first time, these are just a couple facts real quick. This is the first time PS4 EU's LAN roster will not include Swiper. 5 console LANs. This is the first one where the roster will not have Swiper's name. That's pretty interesting. Pretty big to me. So the roster that they're going to take is Goodlad, Harvey, Legacy, Storm, Avatar, and Prosper Logic. Of course, that's their starting lineup. They're also going to take I Only Ought Be as their sub. Filleted will not be going. And they will take Swarmso or / Little Big White Boy as their coach. So, his stuff is already set. He's already going to be there. And I'll see all of them there. Hopefully, I can see most of you guys too if you guys decide to make the trip. So this will be, you ready for this? This is the LAN experience across this roster. Okay? LAN experience across this roster alone. There's been 5 console LANs. Well, the HRX in November will be the 5th LAN. So there's been 4 LANs. You have Valencia, HRX in January, Spring Masters, and the summer finals. So here it is. Harvey has 0 LANs. This will be his first LAN in his career. Okay? Technically, this will be Little Big White Boy's first LAN, but he's not playing. So here it is. Legacy has had 2 LANs. This will be his 3rd. Good Lad and Prosper have both been to 3 LANs. This will be their 4th. I Only Ought Be and Storm Avatar have been to every single LAN together on the same team. This will be their 5th one together on the same team. So, you got 2 people who've been to 4 LANs, 2 people that's been to 3, 1 that's been to 2, and then 1 that's been to 0. That is a ton of LAN experience. I think this team is going to do fairly well at LAN. They will be going up against the PS4 NA team. Now, if it's Elevate, that's going to be a really good matchup. It's going to be the rematch of the summer finals. If they go up against Oni-Channers, then it's Flashpoint versus Swiper. Oh, yeah. Listen. If it's Elevate versus Flashpoint, that'd be dope. Okay, that's a big rematch right there. Whoever wins could potentially win the entire LAN. But I'm not going to lie. Kind of want Oni-Channers to go so I can see Flashpoint versus Swiper on the biggest console Paladin stage there is. Whoa, that's a story right there. Okay, so I told you Flashpoint is the only team and the first team to qualify for HRX, and there are many other scenarios where some other teams can go. So I created a spreadsheet calculator because what else am I good for, right? So let's dive into that. Okay, so sorry, that was my Spotify, not supposed to be seen. All right, now let me see. Let's go 125. And let's change this to that. Okay, so let's start with Xbox EU. Okay, we have Vex Gaming, Radiant Esports, Team Viral, and OTP. Now, OTP you will notice is in red, and they are crossed out. The reason being, as you can probably guess, is because they are out of the running. There's no way OTP can make the LAN. Okay, if they win every game after this, 2-0, 2-0, they will only be 5-8. So, no go. All right, so Vex Gaming is 4-0, but map differential, they are 8-2. Radiant is 5-4. Team Viral is 4-6. Okay, so I set up this little handy-dandy calculator here, which I did change about 50 times, by the way. Okay, so this is their Week 5 matchups right here. Okay, Week 5 matchups, and this is their Week 6 matchups. All right, so Vexed is facing Viral. Now, this is the 2-0 scenario, and this is their 2-1 scenario. This is 2-0 scenario for Week 6, and this is their 2-1 scenario for Week 6. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, Vexed, of course, has a chance to go to LAN. Okay. Radiant has a chance to go to LAN, and Viral has a chance to go to LAN. Viral's chance is very slim. I will tell you that right now. Their chance is very slim. Radiant's is awkward. If they get caught in a tie with Vex Gaming, they will not go because Vex beat them 4 times as to Radiant only beating Vexed once. Okay, so Radiant needs to win. Okay, so if Vex goes 2-0, if they win their set 2-0 in this week 5 against Team Viral, okay, they will be 8-2. Sorry, I'm dumb. They will be 10-2. If Radiant wins 2-0, they will be 7-4. Okay? Now, that would drop Team Viral down to 4-8, which means they're out. Okay? So the biggest factor here this weekend is Radiant Viral needs to win. They need to beat Vexed, and they need to 2-0 them. Okay? So, if Vexed wins 2-0 versus Viral, and they win 2-0 versus OTP, they will finish 12-2. If they finish both sets 2-1, they will be 12-4. If they finish both sets 0-2, they will be 8-6. If they finish both sets 1-2, they will be 10-6. Okay. Now, these two are different. You see more numbers. Let's make that bigger. Okay. If they finish their first week 2-0, actually, it doesn't matter. One of the weeks 2-0 and one of the other weeks 0-2, then they would be 10-4. If they finish 1-2-0 and they finished 1-2-1, then they will be 10. Just kidding. 12-3. Okay. Now, if Radiant finishes 2-0, they're 5-6, 5-4. Okay, so they would be 7-4, 9-4. Here they would be 9-6. Why is that crossed out? Here they would be 5. I can't do simple math right now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Now, here's what needs to happen. In order for Radiant to qualify for the LAN, pay attention. This is where it gets weird. They need to 2-0 OTP. Okay? If they 2-0 OTP, they will be 7-4. If they then 2-0 Viral, they'll be 9-4. The only way they qualify over Vexed is if Vex loses 0-2 to Viral, which makes them 8-4. And then if they lose 2-0 to OTP, they will be 8-6. If Radiant wins 2-0 both weeks, they'll be 9-4. If Radiant wins 2-1 both weeks, they'll be 9-6. And they will have qualified over your boys. Vexed. Okay? So, slim chance. Very, very slim chance. But it could still happen. Okay, if Radiant goes 1-2 both times, they will be 7-8. If they go 2-0, they'll be 7-4, and then 7-6. If they go 2-0, they'll be 7-4, 9-5. Right? Yes. Okay, so if they 2-0 and 2-1, they'll be 9-5. What scenario does Vex have to happen in order for them to qualify? Would be 0-2 both times. That is the only chance Radiant has to going to LAN. So, if Vex loses 0-2, 0-2, and Radiant can 2-0 both weeks, they can 2-1 both weeks, or they can 2-0 and 2-1, any order, they would be going to LAN. Because they beat them in map differential. Now, if somehow they tie, which obviously you can see won't happen, then they don't go to LAN. If Vex wins 2-0 both weeks, or 2-1 both weeks, or they finish 1-2 both weeks, they can lose as long as they get one map off both times. They can go 2-0 and then 0-2. Or 2-0 and 2-1. So basically, all Vex needs to do is win one map. Or two maps. If they win two maps, boom. Vex will be your LAN team. Now, I said Viral had a very slim chance. They do have a very slim chance. If they beat Vexed 2-0. Whoa. If they beat Vex 2-0, they will be 6-6, correct? And if Radiant beats their team 2-0, they will be 7-4. Okay? And then Radiant faces Viral in week 6. So, if Viral goes 2-0, they would be, I just wrote 2-0, they would be 8-6. Okay? They would be 8-6. But if they give up a map, they would be 8-7, and if they be 8-5. So, in order for Viral to go to LAN, they'd be 8-6. They'd be tied with Vexed, and they'd have to go to a tiebreaker if Vex lost 0-2 both times. Okay, so if Viral goes 2-0 both times, which is their only option, they would be 8-6. And they have beaten Radiant, because Radiant would then be 0-2 in this week, so they'd get one of these. And if Radiant loses to OTP, they would be 5-8. Well, let's do this. Team Viral goes 2-1 both weeks. What are they? 4-6, so they'd be 6-8. Okay, so this is their only option. Boop, 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 boop. This is their only option. These are options for Radiant. And literally, Vex just needs to win 2 maps to secure it. If they win 1, it's going to be close, okay? So, if Viral can 2-0 their last 2 matchups, they faced Vexed. If they can 2-0 them, okay, and then they 2-0 Radiant, they will be in a tiebreaker with Vexed. Right here. But they need OTP to beat Vexed. Okay? That is how this works. So, in order... Okay, let's say it straight up with all that mumbo-jumbo out of the way. Vexed, in order to qualify for LAN, needs to win 1 map. If they win 2... it's over. It's secured. There's no chance of anyone else. Vexed will be your LAN qualifier. If Radiant can 2-0 each week, and Vex loses 0-2 both weeks, Radiant is your qualifier. Okay? So if Vex goes 0-2 for the last 2 weeks and Radiant goes 2-0 for the next 2 weeks, Radiant would be going to LAN. Okay? If Viral finishes the season 4-0 and Vex finishes the season 0-4, they will be in a tiebreaker. No, it does not. I will show you why. Okay, we can go here. Okay, so now you can see here they have lost more than this team can lose at all. Okay, if you go by set win-loss, then look at this. Brutal Fissure is going up against Flashpoint, and Brutal Fissure is going up against Cyclone. Okay, in the last 2 weeks of the season. If Brutal Fissure beats Flashpoint, Flashpoint would be 4-2. And Brutal Fissure would be, or they would be 4-1. And Brutal Fissure would be 3-2. And then if Brutal Fissure beats Cyclone in the last week, then, or no, they would, sorry, they play next week. Okay? So, Flashpoint, if they lose their next 2 sets, they would be 4-2, correct? If Brutal Fissure wins their next 2, or Cyclone wins their next 2, they would be 4-2. Now, in the head-to-head matchup, Cyclone would lose in a tiebreaker because they lost to Flashpoint 4-0. Or they lost both sets, since you want to go by sets, right? So, if this is true with the set record, then how come Flashpoint has secured a spot to LAN? It's because map differential right here. Okay? Map differential. Map differential has secured them their LAN spot. There is no possible way that they can lose more than 6 maps, 5 maps, or 8 maps at all. Guys. These teams have a chance. Don't heartbreak them. And if you want to go by standings, then, like I said, if Vex loses the next 2 weeks, they would be what, ladies and gentlemen? If Radiant wins the next 2 weeks, what would they be, ladies and gentlemen? And they would lose in the tiebreaker because, why, ladies and gentlemen? Because they lost to Vex, which means that they would go to, drumroll please, map differential. And the only way Radiant would win the map differential race is if they 2-0 both weeks and Vex loses 0-2 both weeks. You know, you guys come into the chat and you just start blaring this stuff at me, and I'm just like, guys, do you really want me to sit you down, humble you down, and explain this to you 50 times? Thank you. Thank you. And guess what? If Team Viral closes out the season 2-0, then they would be what? 4-2. And the only way they would qualify is if they beat Radiant 2-0 and they beat Vex 2-0, which would make them what? 8-6. 8-6. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay, so moving on to Xbox NA. We have Onslaught, who's 7-2, Kirsty's Hands, who's 6-4, Happy Battlecats, who are 5-5. Okay, and Baldy Bunch, who is 1-7, so they are out. Okay, so if Onslaught, give me this. I just need those numbers right there. Okay, so if Onslaught wins 2-0 both their weeks, they would be 9, 10, 11, and 2. If they go 2-1 the next 2 weeks, they will be 11 and 4. Here they will be 7 and 6. Here they will be 9 and 6. If they go 2-0, they'll be 9 and 2, 9 and 4. My keyboard just fell apart. What the heck? Here they would be 9 and 2 and 11 and 3. Correct? Correct. Okay. Now, Kirsty's Hands has the best chance to go up against them. Okay. So, Kirsty's Hands finishes the season 2-0, which means they would beat Onslaught 2-0. Okay? So, in the sets, they get 2-0'd by Onslaught in 3-3, and they would 2-0 them in week 6, which makes it a tiebreaker. And if you have the same record and the same set win-loss against each other, then it goes down to what, Kev? It goes down to what, Kev? It goes what, Kev? You could go 5-1, they go 4-2, and with my criteria, we lose. No. No. This system here is if you guys are tied in sets. Okay? If you guys are 5-1 and they're 4-2, then we don't need this. You're going to LAN. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So, if you guys go 2-0 each time, you guys will be 10 and 4. That is not 10. Okay? If you go 2-1 both times, you will be 10 and 6. No. I'm doing this because this is the complicated way that you can figure out what exactly you need to do. So if you guys go into your week 5 matchups and you guys win 2-1 and Onslaught 2-0s, you would theoretically think, okay, we're still tied. But if you guys win 2-0 against Onslaught in week 6, then you need to know what is happening. You know what I'm saying? So that is why I'm doing this. So 0-2, both your weeks, you would be 6 and 8. One and 2, you would be both times. You would be 8 and 8. That's rough. It's like a bad football team. Still makes playoffs. Okay, 2-0 1 week, 0-2 1 week. You would be 8 and 6. And 2-0 and you 2-1. That's in no particular order too, people. So you have to understand that. You can 2-0 your week 5 and 2-1 your week 6. Or you can 2-1 your week 5 and 2-0 your week 6. This is just if it happens where the set scores are those different. Okay, so you would be 8, 9, 10, and 5. Okay, so if you guys beat who do you play in week 5? You play Baldy. You play the Battle Cats. Yes. Okay, so if you guys beat the Battle Cats and then you you beat Onslaught 2-0. If you 2-0 both their teams and Onslaught wins 2-0 in week 5 against Baldy Bunch, Onslaught 2-0's Baldy Bunch, then they get beat 2-0 by Kirsty's Hands. This is if you 2-0 Onslaught and Happy Battle Cats. Okay? And if you would be 10-4. If they 2-0 Bally Bunch and they force a 2-1 against you guys, they would still go to LAN. If your sets are tied. If your set win-loss is tied, then they would go because they would be 10-3. Or no, they'd be 10-4, right? They would be 9, 10, 4. They'd be 10-4. Oh, because you would be 10-5 for losing that one map. Okay. So, Kirsty's Hands needs to win out. Onslaught wants to go. They need to win out or lose to Happy Battle Cats. Okay, what happens if you guys lose one game to Happy Battle Cats? All right, so Onslaught 2-0s, they would be 9-2. They 2-0 Baldy Bunch. Then you guys beat Happy Battle Cats, but they take one map off of you. So you would be 8-5. So even if you beat them 2-0, you would be 10-5. Then you beat them, but you beat them 2-0, they would be you guys would go because you have the better set record. Originally, you would have one loss to Onslaught in week 3. They would have 2 in week 4 and week 6. Okay. Okay, you guys potentially cannot lose a map to Happy Battle Cats. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, so Happy Battle Cats has a chance to go to LAN as well. So Happy Battle Cats is 5-5. If Onslaught loses all their games, they would be 7-6. If Kirsty's Hands loses to Happy Battle Cats, they would be 6-6 with 2 losses. So set win-loss, they would be 3-2. 3-3. They'd be 3-3, right? You guys, if you lost both of your sets, you would be 3-3, which would make Onslaught 4-2. They would be 4-2. Happy Battle Cats would be 4-2. So, in order for Happy Battle Cats to be 4-2 along with Onslaught, because they both 2-0'd each other, they would need to win probably 2-0, right? They would be 9-5. And if Onslaught wins one of their matches 2-0, they would be 9-5. They need them to be 0-2'd, lose 1-2 both times, have them lose an 0-2. Okay, so if Onslaught loses all 4 games for the rest of the season, Happy Battle Cat and Kirsty's Hands beats, and Happy Battle Cats beats Kirsty's Hands, and Kirsty's Hands beats Onslaught. Wait a minute. If Happy Battle Cats beats Kirsty's Hands, that would give Kirsty's Hands their second loss. If Kirsty's Hands beats Onslaught, they'll be 4-2. Oof. But they lose, so they would be 4-2 because they play Baldy Bunch in week 4, and they beat Kirsty's Hands, so they would be 4-2. which means that they would need to go to map win-loss. And the only way Happy Battle Cats wins against Kirsty's Hands in a map, they have to 2-0 you guys. They can't 2-1 you, right? If they 2-1 you, they'll be 9-6. Yeah, but the thing is, Kevin, you need to win both sets. You can drop maps as long as you win those sets. If you lose one of those, if you lose the Happy Battle Cats, they have a chance of making LAN. And even if you beat Onslaught. That's the thing. All three of these teams have a chance to go to LAN. Happy Battle Cats is very slim. They need to beat you guys. Then they need to beat Baldy Bunch. And then Kirsty's Hands needs to beat Onslaught in order for Happy Battle Cats to go. Okay. Let's go down here where Game Over and Warm Up are deleted. They're not going. Okay. Warm Up is 0-4. Game Over is 1-3. When it comes to maps, they're 1-8 and 2-7. Okay. So you got 8-1 and you got 7-2 Elevate. Oni Channers are 4-0. They're 4-0. Elevate is 3-1. Now, if the Oni Channers lose, we're just going to assume that they both 2-0 these people. Okay? So Oni Channers wins against Game Over. Where is it? Oni Channers wins against Game Over. They would be 10-1. Okay? With a win-loss of 5-0. Then Elevate comes in. They're 7-2. They win 2-0. They're 9-2. And they're 4-1. Okay? So. Okay? So. Then they go up against each other. And let's say Elevate wins. Elevate wins. They'll be 11-2. Crap. With a win-loss of 5-1. Oni Channers would also be 5-1. And they will be 10-3. But that was a 2-0. So, if they drop one map to Oni Channers, they would be 11-4, making them 11-3. So, same win-loss. Different map differentials. Means even if Elevate wins, if they go to 3 games, and they allow Oni Channers to take one map off of them, Oni Channers are your winners. Which means Elevate needs, here's what they need, okay? They need warm-up to beat Oni Channers or to take one map off of them. That's what they need. Or if none of those two things happen, if warm-up loses to Oni Channers or warm-up fails to take one map off of Oni Channers, then over here, I didn't put it in. Elevate needs to 2-0 Oni Channers. How would that feel? You win and you still lose. Okay. We need to finish up the show here. We're going a little long. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the PCLC. What is that, you may say? It's the Paladins Console League Committee. Okay, so I'm going to be naming your regular season MVP at the end of the season. You guys have been awesome. All the captains and the team members giving me all the stats. I've been recording all those stats. I don't show anybody. If one of the players asks me, I show them their teams. Don't show them anyone else's, and I don't share the spreadsheet to them. I screenshot what they ask for and I send it to them, and it's only theirs. I don't share drafts or anything like that unless it was on stream. If it was on stream, then instead of them having to go back in the VOD, I just give them the draft. If it was on stream. Now, here's what the PCLC is. It's a collection of people that are in this committee that I created who will vote at the end of the season. Not exactly at the end. There's 2 weeks left in the season. And in about 5 weeks, they will be doing their behind closed doors voting, where they vote for the regular season MVP, the best sub in the league, the best rookie in the league, best damage, best frontline, most improved player, things like that. And like all first PCL team, all second PCL team, kind of like the NBA awards. It's very similar. I based it around those. And I based the voting system around it as well. So there'll be non-PCL players. They can be PC players. There's a couple PPL players in there. There's a couple PGS players in there. There's just casual players. There's a guy who's on the Paladins. He writes for a Paladins blog. There's some other esports-oriented people in there as well. And so they will see all the stats, and I gave them 2 requirements if they wanted to be in the committee. That is, or 3 requirements. Don't talk to anybody about it and be unbiased. Watch all the PCL videos or the matches so that you actually know what you're doing. And also, you cannot be a PCL player. There's a few people in there that have played console, but they're not in the league. Whether they quit playing console or their team didn't qualify or stuff like that. And if you know anyone who's interested, hit me up on Discord or Twitter. And if you're interested yourself, let me know. You just have to fit those 3 requirements. And yeah. Oh, and at the end of the season, I'm going to create another voting thing. You guys can do your all-star teams. We can vote for all-star players, fan-based. So yeah, and it'll be PCL players only. So that's all I've got for today's show. I know we ran a little bit long. That was for the LAN situations. Again, Viral has a very slim chance. Happy Battlecats have a very slim chance. Onslaught has the biggest chance in their division. Kirsty's Hands is right behind them. And then Elevate and Only Changers have a chance. Even if Elevate wins 2-1 and they both 2-0'd in their weeks before, then Only Changers will still be your winner. So Elevate should be best friends with Warm Up at this point, because if Warm Up can win or take 1 map off of them, and then Elevate beats Only Changers, Elevate will be going to LAN. So that is all for me today. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. I know it ran way longer, about double the time that I usually try to make Console Corner. So thank you if you stuck around the whole time. If not, the VOD will be on YouTube if you need anything or to go back for anything. Thank you. Everyone, enjoy your day. I know the new patches dropped today, so new console name. I'm ready to try it out and see if it's any better than what we have had in the past. Love you guys.